Yes, hello everyone. My name is Georg. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Meniga. We're global leaders in digital banking solutions. So we work with banks across the world. We're a B2B2C software company. We sell them software and help them generally improve their online and mobile banking solutions, taking the data they have in their systems to improve the user experience, create new business models, and so on. We're also driven by a higher purpose or mission of helping people lead better financial lives, something very important to our employees, and something we try to build into our solutions because money worries or money-related decisions are one of the big topics of our time to improve quality of life. We've been privileged to work with many of the leading banks in the world, particularly in Europe. We work with Santander, Commerzbank, Intesa in Italy, and so on. One of our better-known projects is here in Poland with mBank. Our software is one of the key APIs behind that bank. And jointly, our software touches users of digital banks that are used by more than 50 million people. Just to give you an idea about what we do, that's not the topic of today, but just so you better understand, we're trying to improve engagement in digital banking. So imagine just looking at a transaction. You went to an Italian restaurant, Jamie's Italian, and spent 112 euros. So instead of just showing the one line, the transaction, the date, the place, we are adding all sorts of enrichment data to make that a more interesting experience. Like in addition, having a category showing users how much they spent in restaurants overall, how that's evolving over time, how much there. And even there in the top left, you'll see kind of discovery. If you're the type of person that goes to Jamie's Italian, you're also likely to maybe be interested in these other restaurants that people tend to go to if they like this place, similar to what Netflix and Amazon are doing, and so on. And just by doing things like this, we can improve the engagement by 3 or 4x on just a simple task of viewing a transaction. The topic of today is the changing landscape of financial services. I think it's never been more interesting to be in the business of working with banks on the digital strategies. With PSD2 coming, and there are brings all sorts of threats and opportunities. As you are well aware, there's huge growth in fintech and fintech investment, and that's both a risk and an opportunity for banks. Also, banks are worried that some of the big tech companies or social media companies enter more aggressively into banking. We're already seeing very interesting developments in China, for example, with Alibaba and WeChat taking on a big role in financial services and surprisingly fast. And when you ask young people, most of them would actually much more like a bank from Google rather than from their existing bank. And then, if that wasn't enough, PSD2 is taking effect next year, and meaning that banks are forced to open up their data and their transactions. So just like we're used to allowing sometimes apps to accept that they access our Facebook data with our permission, soon any startup or Google or the bank next door can ask you for your banking data or to make transactions on your behalf from the app as long as you give that permission. That's what PSD2 is all about. So what should banks do in this, with these changes coming? There are a few different strategic options we are seeing. One is just wait and see, just do basic compliance. More and more banks, though, believe that this is a risky strategy. The rise of digital and fintech is still not having a huge impact on banks' profits or income, but more and more believe that it will happen very soon. Another option is to embrace this, often called the Amazon strategy. You try to become the best API provider. You as a bank look at APIs and data, just embrace the world of open banking and see APIs as a potential major new channel. Just like Amazon is still a major retailer, but has a great side business through their web services. BBVA is probably the best known bank that has taken this furthest, but there are many others. Nordea recently announced a major open banking initiative, and so on. And this is not just necessarily to open the APIs up to everyone, but to have strategic options, to want to be the bank where every fintech wants to work with because you have the best APIs. That gives you options. You can use these APIs to build better solutions on yourself as a bank. You can also sell access to some things that get beyond what you have to provide. And, or you can choose to partner with select fintechs. It gives you options. The third and probably most common strategy we see emerging is to take this very seriously and really fight for the customer relationship. So invest in really improving the user experience of your digital bank so people have no reason to go elsewhere. Here are some screenshots of mBank, which we think is a good example of really trying to get the user experience to a next level. And generally across the board, we are seeing banks all over Europe now doing very interesting things. Some are improving their own digital and mobile banks. Others are launching standalone apps that complement their digital bank. ING, for example, recently launched an app in the UK where they don't even operate a bank to help people understand and manage their money, and maybe in anticipation of opening a bank, maybe as experiment, but it's all about getting the attention of the users. The fourth trend is to go beyond banking. Think of a bank not just as a place to do banking, but connect the banking ecosystem and the data and the banking systems with other data and ecosystems. For example, one of the things we do is help banks offer merchant offers in the digital bank. So I'm having conversations with bank leaders about you should be competing with Facebook and Google on their own turf and create an advertising ecosystem in the digital bank based on people's spending history. If you do that well, you can create enormous value for your user and a major new reason to visit the bank. But that's early days, but we are seeing some banks taking bold step in this. So new business models, new value-added services based on data. So, but these strategies are not mutually exclusive. And it's our view that banks are probably doing some of all of this. So build a good API platform for strategic options and use it to fight for the customer relationship, whether that means improving your own digital bank or working with select fintechs, and then also develop new revenue streams and monitor what's happening. Meniga works with banks on all these strategies. We help them, some of our customers, comply with PSD2. We have APIs that complement PSD2, but mainly we're working on helping them provide a better digital user experience. That's our core competence. And finally, we're also helping them bring new business models and services into digital banking that go beyond banking. So in summary, our advice to banks is to embrace this. I think that it's coming. That's the only option. Step up your game, go beyond compliance. Now is the time to be bold in the use of data. Use data to improve the customer experience, to experiment with new business model, and basically create more value. Because with PSD2, others will have much better opportunity. So banks should act now before others beat them to it. Working with fintechs, see who's winning and work with the best fintechs. Don't invent the wheel in customer experience. Use learn from the best, and step up your game. Reorganize so that you can move faster and launch projects in a few months and not few years. And we're very interesting. Even many of the big banks we see are really changing their organizational structure so they can move faster. So that's very interesting. But that's all